In this video, you're going to learn how to play ambient pads for worship on your iPhone or iPad. And I'm going to show you this free app that allows you to both crossfade and loop your pad tracks. Those are two crucial features for running pads in worship. What's up YouTube? My name is Jake Goslin with churchfront.com, an online resource for innovative and creative church leaders. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can receive all of our content to help you grow yourself and grow your church. Using pads in worship is the easiest and least expensive way to fill out the sound of your band. And pads are so easy to use that you can play them back on an iPhone or an iPad. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed step-by-step guide on how to get up and running with pads using an iOS device. So everything I'm about to show you can be done on both an iPhone and an iPad. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get set up on my iPhone. So I'll go ahead and put that on the screen for you right here. Awesome. Now that you can see my screen, let's get started with the tutorial. The first thing you need to do is download some free ambient pads for worship. So open up your web browser, navigate to churchfrontpads.com. And we have some free pads that you can use. It's a full set of 12 pads and 12 different keys of our signature warm sound that my friend Boomer Bait made just for you to use in your worship ministry. So click the button at the bottom of the page, complete the form, and I will send you instant access to these free pads. So what's going to happen is in a few moments you're going to receive an email from me. The subject line, here are your free pads, and that's going to have the download link to download the pads to your phone. But first, make sure you have the Dropbox app installed on your phone. Dropbox is the easiest way to manage and transfer these files. You can download Dropbox for free in the App Store, and you can create a free Dropbox account as well. So make sure the Dropbox app is on your phone, and then check your email, and then you'll see an email from me, and click on the link right there to access the pads. It's going to open up your web browser, and it's going to bring you to where the files are hosted in Dropbox on your web browser. So next you need to click the icon in the upper right of the Dropbox window, and then click the Save to My Dropbox button. And once you do that, it's going to automatically populate your Dropbox account with these free pads for worship. Then you can go to your Dropbox app to make sure everything did transfer over well and you're able to access the free pads from your Dropbox account. So you'll see a folder like this. And then in that folder, you have both MP3 files and WAV files. For the purposes of this tutorial and using pads on your phone, I recommend just using the MP3 files, and I'll show you in a moment how to import those into the app we'll be using to play them back. So now that you have access to the pads in Dropbox, the next step is to download the Sound Board Studio Lite app. Go to the App Store and go under Search and just search Sound Board Studio Lite, and it'll come right up on the top. I already have it installed on my phone. It's a free app. Soundboard Studio also makes a paid version which has complete functionality of the app, but the functionality that we need to loop and to crossfade is included in the free version. So you can go ahead and download the free version and then open it up once it's downloaded. And then here is the soundboard. The way this works is it places the different MP3 files for the pads in this nifty little grid, and you simply click on the different pads in the grid to play them back. So it's super handy. So my Soundboard Studio app's already set up with my MP3 files of the pads in the grid format, but what's cool is you can make multiple boards. So maybe if you want to have different playlists of songs, I would recommend just having one containing all 12 keys of the apps, or then maybe you could create different boards for different flavors of apps. You can organize it in whatever way that suits your fancy, but I want to show you how to import them into the app. I'm going to open up a blank board, board number 2 here, and then you just follow the instructions. Add your first track, and then we want to import import from Dropbox. That's where our folders are at. And then I'm just gonna go to the folder containing the free pads. I'll go to the MP3 version, and then I'll click on my MP3 file. And you have to import them one at a time. I wish I could just do all 12 at the same time. But what you have to do is keep pressing that plus button, import from Dropbox, and then you have to click the next track. So it's a little clunky, I think, to have to go through each file, but hey, it's a free app, so we can't complain. So you continue that process until you have all of the files in the app. And there's a couple important features you need to know how to enable or disable as you would please. The first is the ability to loop the tracks. If you click the gear icon in the top left, you can then go to default track settings. Make sure that the default track setting of loop is enabled. I would recommend this because maybe you have multiple songs back to back in the same key and your pads track isn't quite long enough to play through all those songs. Well, in this app, you can just loop the pad track in the background, so you'll never run out of pads for your worship set. So make sure loop is enabled, and then maybe even fade out is enabled too. So then when you stop a track in this app, it'll have a nice little fade to it, and it won't just stop abruptly. Another little trick I'd recommend is to arrange your pads in the order of whatever songs you're playing that Sunday or that given set list. So if you have a song in the key of A and then you have a song in the key of B, you can see I'm able to move them around, and that's all by clicking that little box icon in the top left next to the gear icon, and then you just kind of hold down and drag your pads around. So that could be a way to kind of build a custom set list. You're not having to think about, okay, what key is this next song in? Maybe if you have songs in the same key in a set list, you might want to re-import that key in as its own file. Just make sure you set it up so you don't have to do much thinking when you're actually leading worship and pressing the different pad sounds on your phone. Another important feature about this app is its ability to crossfade. So we already talked about looping and how important that is, but crossfading is another important feature, and this app makes it super easy to crossfade your tracks. So click that gear icon on the top left, and you can adjust the fade out duration. So I'd recommend maybe a fade out duration of like 2 to 3 seconds, and then just press done. And now listen to this. So we have this pad in the key of G playing, and then I'll select the pad in the key of C. Notice how it was a nice seamless transition. So that's gonna create really smooth transitions for you in worship when you are switching between a song in one key to a song in a different key. So that's it. You're set up and ready to go. You can simply just press on the whatever key of pads you want to play in the app. When you want to stop, I would press the little fade out button on the bottom right corner so there's not any jarring stops to the sound. And I really think this is going to help enhance the sound of your worship band using these pads. And like I already said, you can do everything here that I showed you on an iPhone, also on an iPad as well. The Sound Board Studio Lite app works both on iPhone and iPad. And I would recommend, if you have 40 bucks, it might be worth getting the full version of Sound Board Studio. For example, it would be nice to be able to set some in and out points, because we have these pads, at least our church front pads, we have them set to fade in and fade out at the end of the audio file. But if you're looping, you don't want it necessarily to fade out at the end of the track and then loop at the beginning and then fade back in, because it kind of creates this like fade out, fade in type loop. Where if you were to hold down, you know, on an individual track, you can set these individual track parameters like looping and fade out, play next track. But in and out points, this would be a handy parameter to have. But you'll notice once you start setting that parameter, it requires you to get the full studio, which you can't blame them. They have to make money to be able to develop this app, so it's worth, I think, actually putting the $40 into purchasing this app if you're going to use pads on a regular basis. There are two important things I forgot to mention when I was shooting this video originally. I was just editing it. I realized I forgot these things, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned them. Number one, make sure the silent mode on your phone, and you use that little switch on the side, make sure that's turned off. Because if silent mode is on, Sound Board Studio will not send out any sound. When I first downloaded the app, I didn't understand why I couldn't get it to make any sound, and that's why. It seems obvious, but at the same time, it wasn't that obvious to me, so I don't want you to experience the same frustration. And then the second thing is to make sure that you do have your phone in airplane mode, turn off notifications. You don't want any unexpected interruptions during your worship service because someone gave you a call or a text while you were playing pads on your phone. So that completes the tutorial of how to run ambient pads for worship on an iOS device. If you found this video helpful, please hit the thumbs up button, leave some love below in the comments, and share this video with your other friends in ministry who may want to learn how to run ambient pads for worship on their iPhone or iPad. Don't forget to subscribe to the Churchfront channel and hit that notification bell so you can receive all of our latest content to help you grow yourself and grow your church.